What's up, people? Sorry about that. I am back for another video. Sorry it took me a little bit to make this video. Just kind of crazy few days. So before I get started, my updated plans for this week will be today. We'll be doing Bad Boys 4. And then I know it's going to be weird because we're going to do Bad Boys 4. And then I know normally, because we did Bad Boys 1 on Tuesday, it would be on Tuesday. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Bad Boys 2 tomorrow. I know it's going to be weird because I'm doing technically Bad Boys 4, Bad Boys Ride or Die today. And then I'm doing Bad Boys 4 right after 2. But I figure, why not go through the franchise? So I'm going to do Bad Boys 2 tomorrow. And then probably the week after, then it'll be back on Tuesday. But because I have an idea, so I guess I'll get to it now. I have talked about this with a couple of people. I want to do a rewrite of the entire Jurassic World trilogy. And I figured this would be the perfect week to do it, since Tuesday is going to be the 31st anniversary of the first Jurassic Park film. So why not start the series? So I'm going to probably, between today and like tomorrow, going to put together like the idea for the first one. And then the next Tuesday will be Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And I'm going to relatively keep it the same. And what I mean is I'm going to stick to like the characters. I'm not going to like write random new characters. It's not going to be 100% a rewrite. Well, Dominion will be. But like what I mean, it's going to be a lot of the same characters. I'm not going to oh, this is going to be our new main character. No, we're going to stick with kind of what we have, but I want to like give myself a little wiggle room. So on Tuesday will be the first of that. So we'll be doing Jurassic World, rewriting Jurassic World, the first one of the trilogy on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, the plan is to do Bad Movie Wednesdays makes its comeback. We'll be doing No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan. And then Thursday, we'll figure out what we'll do Thursday. I might do a random slasher or like a random action movie, something like that. And then Friday, since I didn't get to do it last Friday, because I saw Bad Boys Ride or Die. And to be fair, I didn't plan on seeing it in theaters. I was going to stream it online and then watch it. But I don't know. Something just happened, and I was like, fuck it, I'll spend $10. Go see it. And I'm going to be honest, Bad Boys Ride or Die was actually really good. But before I get to that, so this Friday, we'll get back and finish and conclude the the Caesar trilogy with War for the Planet of the Apes. I was supposed to do it this week, but then I saw Bad Boys. I actually didn't plan on, I was going to watch it, but I was going to, see it on the seas and then watch it, but I don't know, something happened, and something compelled me to go see it in the theater. And the way I saw it, I don't think I'm going to be mad if it's, at worst, it's mediocre. I'm like, it's not going to hurt to spend $10 on it, so I'm happy I made the right call. But I will say, Bad Boys Ride or Die, or Bad Boys 4, whatever you want to call it, is really good. I'll admit, guys, going into this, I was really negative, because I didn't really like a lot of the trailers. It's not even like, the Will Smith slap. I didn't care. I moved on from that. I still think he's kind of a cuck as a person, but, not kind of, he is a cuck as a person, but I just did not like the trailer, and the whole trailer, Captain Howard gets framed for his murder, because there's supposedly something that links him to the cartel, because he's falsely accused, and then obviously you get the inference that the boys are get on a manhunt because something happens and they're framed for murder of police, so they are on the run. So I'll be honest. If I had to say one element, I still am not a fan of them going on the run. The Howard story is definitely a lot better when they at least explain it. Because one of my gripes going into it was, if he had knew this when he was alive, why didn't he never do anything about it? But when then we find out, the movie explains he's been on basically 10 years. It said 9 years, but I'm just gonna add an extra year. Not basically 9 to 10 years of investigating this. So they at least explain it. Um, the one thing that is weird, I will say if I had one criticism, why does Mike and Rita, who they set up, and even by the end of the third one, it's implied that they're like together. All of a sudden, they each get married. Like Mike marries his physical therapist, who was just randomly introduced in this movie. Not saying she's not. That's not saying she's a bad character or anything. It just was random. It's like, wait, where did this chick come from? Why is she all of a sudden here? And like, even though the last film sets up that him and Rita get together, like even by the end, it's implied. Then Rita, who's now the captain, is married to gets married, which is like okay. So obviously, Martin, Marcus has a heart attack and basically has a new lease on life. And I love his character change in this. He pretty much goes, he's usually the like more cautious of the two, and he pretty much becomes He's pretty much becomes more like Mike. Like, he like even during the action scenes, like he almost like doesn't have a fear of death almost. And I really liked it. I thought it was perfect for this movie. I love that this one pretty much calls back a lot. They call back a lot to Bad Boys 2. But, like, pretty much they call back, like, to the first three films. Like, it's a love letter. So, the fact that it was that, Marcus and Mike still have great chemistry. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence still got it. Like, you could tell Martin Lawrence and Will Smith had fun making this film. And I think that's a big part of the reason I really liked it. Especially Martin Lawrence. You could tell he was having fucking fun with this one. And, Kim, the actress you might know, Kim Wexler from Better Call Saul's in it. She's Howard's daughter, who I'll admit I was not a fan of a character. I get what they were going for, that she was fueled by rage, but I didn't. Another criticism I have, so I have a couple criticisms. I don't really like how easily people just believe Mike and Marcus how easily people just believe that they just killed cops. I thought that was a little bit, come on guys. You're just gonna easily just believe. I get they gotta do their job and you gotta be professional, but I just don't like how easily people believe it. I would have just kind of just wished they did something else. But they were able to make it work enough. And honestly, Mike's son, Armando, I like some of the other thing. The action in this fucking movie is really good. I wasn't expecting the level of action. Even with Reggie, there's a scene where you see people. I'm gonna look up the villains' names. I'll be honest. That's the other thing. The villains, James McGrath, who's the villain behind the scenes. His people are going into Marcus's house. And you see Reggie going, actually Reggie's in the military, because they even make a joke about it early on. It's probably one of the trailers, actually. And you see Reggie just do his shit. And it was like, bro, I was telling Calman this, like the action in this scene very much felt like John Wick. It was like almost like a John Wick type of action. We just taking out these bad guys, McGrath's people, and protecting his family. Like, god damn. Like, the camera work too for the fight scenes is very well done. They even bring back Fletcher. You might remember from the first movie, the dude in the glass. Granted, he gets killed, but like the callbacks they do to like the first three films is very well done. And even Armando's fight scene at the prison, when a couple of the prisoners try to have him killed, like throws a weight at one dude. Just the choreography is incredible in this. Like, especially for Bad Boys, which you think is just like a normal, like, kind of buddy cop movie. No, they went all out with the action scenes. But I would even say when I do 2 tomorrow, they definitely upped the action in the same way. But dude, yeah, that Reggie scene, like, holy shit. They let Reggie have his time to shine. Like, that's what makes it so good. They let him have his, like, time to shine almost. overall, really like this film. I love the new characters. Kind of like what I was thinking of Bad Boys 3 is how well they, you know, introduce like the new characters in this movie. Like, same with 3. Like, they don't bring them there just to shit on the legacy characters. And yeah, man. Overall, love this movie. Even though Captain Howard is dead, you feel his presence because, there's scenes where Mike has PTSD, and he even has a panic attack in one during a fight scene because he feels like he blames himself, for Howard dying, and then he feels like anyone I get close to dies or gets hurt. Even tells his son that, and I'll admit I didn't love the whole son angle because I'm not a fan in general of random kid out of nowhere plots. That's why I don't know if I'm gonna like it really with Beverly Hills Cop 4. We'll see, and I'll admit I didn't really like it 3 after, but I will admit they really did like the use of Armando and the growth of him and his relationship with his father is very well done. So, and even then, even if you do question like why are you still being friends with the person who killed your son, your captain, but this is his son at the end of the day. And I think they do a really good job with that story. And, towards the end, Armando kind of goes off on his own, flees. I don't know exactly where, but it is a great film. And it's a love letter because, like I said, they call back a lot to like the first 3 films, especially 2. They call back to 2 a couple of times. So overall, 8 out of 10 film. I really liked it. I want to watch it again. To be honest, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think I liked it as much as I did. I thought I was not gonna like it. I'll be honest with you. I was ready to not necessarily hate it, but I was thinking, it's not gonna probably be good, and it was pretty good. So the fact that I liked Bad Boys 4 more than like fucking Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is kind of sad to me. Because going into this year, I thought Bad Boys 4 would be bad, and then obviously Kingdom would be amazing. But I was wrong. It was the opposite. So definitely want to watch this again. This will probably be in like up there, at least top 5 maybe films of the year. We'll see. I know we're only in June right now, so it could change, but at least right now it's up there for sure. So, like I said, tomorrow we're gonna go back and do Bad Boys 2. I originally was gonna do it Tuesday, but I want to do that Jurassic World rewrite. So tomorrow we'll do Bad Boys 1, which I love Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2 was a perfect sequel. That opening scene at the Klan rally is fucking funny. The scene with the Haitians. You got the scene with where Marcus and Mike are fucking with the daughter's new boyfriend. Like, I always love that scene. That scene is fucking great at the door. It's just, Gabrielle Union adding new characters. You could tell like the quality was upscaled, obviously, because it came out, digitally. It was in the digital age. But I really liked Bad Boys 2. I really think it's a pretty good sequel to the first one. I don't blame people who has this higher. I would still say Bad Boys 2, 1 and 2 are still better than 4, but going back to Ride or Die really quick, I think I like Ride or Die or Bad Boys 4, whatever you want to call it. I like it more than 3. I like 3, but I just think this one edges it out a little bit. I probably need a rewatch because I did rewatch 3 recently. I rewatched it on Friday. No, I think Thursday or Friday I watched it. It was recently, but but overall, Bad Boys. So tomorrow I'll be doing Bad Boys 2. So, but anyways, let's I guess really quick before, because I don't think I'm gonna do a whole video on this because there's only 4 movies. My ranking is Bad Boys 1, 2, Ride or Die, Bad Boys 3. That's probably my ranking right now. But anyways, let's get started with Bad Boys 4. So the movie with Mike and Marcus rushing to uh, Mike's wedding. Who, I'll admit, at this point in the movie, I thought it was his wedding to Rita. I'm like, oh, he's marrying Rita. And then you find out he's marrying his physical therapist, Christine, who his physical therapist after the events of Bad Boys 3. Which is like, okay. But it just threw me for a loop because you set up him and Rita as a couple in the end of the third one. Granted, I understand this film is 4 years later. I get that, but it did just throw me off a little bit. And they didn't really explain why they broke them up either, which it was done because her boyfriend, her husband, well, let me look up. Oh, Adam. Adam is her husband who I'll just spoil. He's revealed to be in on the conspiracy. I think that's it. They just wanted to have that scene where her new boyfriend was in on the conspiracy. But the problem with that is it was just kind of obvious that's why you split them up. You could have had her be, maybe have it be a close friend of hers, maybe even like a brother or something. You didn't have to have it be her boyfriend. It was just kind of lame. I don't get me wrong. I don't hate Christine, but I actually liked Mike and Rita together. They had good chemistry. Even in this film, a couple of scenes they have together, they feel like a couple, and it just for no reason they split up. Just that's the only thing I'm a little like on. But I love this opening scene. Like, I'll be honest, like even like this opening scene, I was like, this is about 5 minutes in. I was like, okay, I'm in. Like where they're at the, you saw it in the trailer, but when Marcus wants to get some Canada Dry, but he ends up getting a hot dog, and then and the store gets robbed, and Marcus is like, Mike's go, we gotta go, and then we get a pretty funny scene of them end up shooting the thief, and then they get to the wedding. You have some speeches, and then that's when they're dancing, and then Marcus gets a heart attack, and then you get some funny scenes of obviously Mike having to Marcus has to eat healthier and stuff. And another thing, Teresa, apparently the actress who plays Teresa, Marcus's wife from the first 3 films, apparently has a health issue. So she did not come back for Bad Boys this one. She didn't come back for 4. So Teresa's recast, I'll be honest, threw me off at first. Like, wait, what? That's supposed to be Teresa? Because there's a scene where Marcus is fucking face calling her, right? And you could tell, and that's supposed to be Teresa, and it's like, wait, that's a different woman. But she was all right, especially when I found out what the real reason was, because apparently Teresa, the actual original actress, had health issues and she couldn't come back. So it's not like they just randomly replaced her. It was clearly for a reason. So it's one of those things. She was fine. At the end of the day, Teresa is not really in these movies. She's in these movies, but it's like they do focus on the family, but largely it's about Marcus and Mike as partners. So you honestly, not necessarily you don't need the family, but you can have them there, but they don't need to be in every scene. So it's okay if they recast her. It's fine. So, and for the little bit of screen time she got, she was all right. Oh, I love the scene. So Mike, I keep fucking doing that. Marcus has a dream where he sees Captain Howard, and he sees this spot, which is gonna be important later. And then this is where Marcus gets his character change and stops being, almost gets over fear, because he even steps on top of a building, even close to the edge, where he'd normally be scared. I actually like this character change for Marcus. He kind of, granted, towards the end, he does kind of become a little bit the Marcus we know, but I really did like this character change. He even feels like, I can't die. It's not my time. I really dig it. So he becomes a bit more carefree because there's even a scene a little bit later, a little bit after this, where Marcus is just walking through the street, not even caring, without a care in the world, and he's a lot more action ready too. So I actually really like that. I like the character change and just it makes for an interesting dynamic because now Mike has to become the like Marcus, where he has to be more cautious. He's like, you know. So after that, we have a funny scene with him and his family, Marcus and his family. Next day, Captain Howard has getting late. Captain Howard's getting accusations of working with the cartel because apparently some evidence turns up, which is brought in by James McGrath, who I'll be honest, he was kind of a weak villain. Even his death was kind of anticlimactic. He was more. I get it. He's supposed to. Be, sometimes when you, this is the. I guess sometimes it can be a potential negative. Sometimes when you have a villain who's more of like the background and they're manipulating things, sometimes it can be. There's times where it works, right? But then there are times where it feels like because of that, you don't always feel them. They don't feel as like a threat because they're moving things in the background that they're almost like not really moving the story. Because there's many scenes that go without McGrath. You don't really you cut to him a couple of times, because obviously the real reason is because Captain Howard's been looking into this, investigating McGrath and his people and that this conspiracy goes like deep and wide. He didn't want to involve Marcus and Mike because he didn't want them to get hurt. Because it turns out Ruiz and I'm trying to remember the other one's name, end up actually they got involved and they ended up getting killed. So, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like when people just get killed off screen. There are times it's okay, but a lot of times, like, that could have been interesting. I wouldn't mind you bringing them in this movie and then just they get killed off screen. It's a little okay. Um, but because I'm just kind of cutting to the scene where they get the message and this is where they find the video because they've been working with Kelly and Dorn, and I'll be honest, Alexander which we also get the reveal that him and Kelly are dating. I actually kind of like them as a couple. They have great chemistry. I love they're probably my favorite of the new crew in the last movie. Rita, who's now captain, which is the other problem I had. I didn't like. It's not just how quick they believed Marcus and Mike were murderers. I also didn't really like how quick they were to believe like that. Howard was a fucking, was a dirty cop. I get it. You gotta play professional. Like Rita specifically, she's the chief, so of course or the captain, so she has to like obviously politic. But it's also like I just think there needs to be a little bit of part of her that should be like, but I know this man. I get it. There was the new guy who's like the head of it was like the FBI or something like that. Or CIA. It was one of not CIA. I think it was FBI. The more or Internal Affairs, one of the two. He called Howard a dirty motherfucker. And the reaction from Mike was perfect. I love that scene. Mike was ready to fight. He was ready to fight. So that's when they kind of have to go on their own. So they go to Armando. Armando reveals that Howard was actually not corrupt, and then he actually knew the reason why he was killed, and he offers to help identify. And then obviously, this is where I think you get the scene in where Armando people try to take him out because he can point out McGrath, which we find out later. And there's a scene they go to the club, and it's where they see Fletcher, which I'll be honest was a great fucking scene. I was surprised. Like, oh shit, that's Fletcher from the first movie. like there's a scene they call back in the second movie. There's a scene where yeah, these people try to take out Armando. And this fight scene was great. Like Armando just like took all these dudes out. And then going back to the scene with Fletcher, he tries to he's the one who tells the boys about Howard and his investigation. But while doing this, because Marcus, you know, kind of going back to the first movie where he threatened Fletcher, he pulls out a gun. But then this is where McGrath, he's in like a hat and he does a specific way to make it kind of almost look like it's almost like Marcus who did the shooting, where he shot him in the head. And we get a big shootout scene, and then that's when they see the video along with Dom and Kelly. And while this is going on, hold on, let me look up. Howard's daughter is brought in, but I want to get her name. Judy Howard. Judy. She's brought in, and she kind of has a little bit of I guess, a little bit of a distant relationship with Mike now because, you know, his son is the one who killed her father, which, you know, I guess makes sense. And I think is another one, I guess a little criticism. I kind of wish they gave her a little bit more focus just because she was driven by revenge, and it would have been interesting to explore, like, even though she knows these boys, she's more driven by her, you know, rage, you know, because one of her, you know, you could have explored that a little bit more. I think they just kind of just glossed over it. I get it. You can't focus on a million things at the same time, so I get it. It's not that big a deal, but I just think it could have did a little bit more with that for a character, just so it could build up to like the ending where she lets them go, you know, or where she lets specifically Armando go. So, then this is where we get the scene where they get the clear to bring in Armando to look at to ID the person who's framing Captain Howard, but because, you know, obviously McGrath and some of his men aren't there, they use specifically Marcus and Mike's weapons. Basically make it, they kill everyone on board, or attempt to kill Marcus and Mike, but Marcus and Mike manage to escape and fight back. And then that's when, causing a helicopter crash, and they release Armando, and that's when the boys have to come together, but then they become fugitives, and because of that, there's a bounty set which some of the criminals want to take, and this is where like a little bit of my criticism was coming out. I was like, okay, I didn't like how quickly everyone just believed these guys how quickly they believed they killed cops. I don't know, man. I get it. They got to do their jobs, but I get it. It's fine. They made it work enough, but it's just a little bit like, I don't like how quickly everyone just believed they just killed cops. Like, come on, guys. You've known these guys now for 4 films, and you really want me to believe y'all just quickly believe they just killed cops. Like, come on. But I do love the connection and the character dynamic between the 3 of them. And I actually think Armando being added to the group duo was actually pretty good. Like, because it was pretty much the 3 of them for the rest of the movie. Obviously, you get the scene that you saw in the trailer where they go to the trailer park. And I was a little bit dreading this scene going to the theater because I'm like, are they going to make this kind of like cringy and like, you know, preachy? But they did. And it was pretty funny. You got Marcus going about like, oh, you're just accusing them of stealing because we're black. And then he got Mike like, man, look at your shirt. And it says purebred white boy. It's and Martin's like, I don't know why that was in my black closet. Like the move, like they still were able to just be funny. It wasn't trying to preach anything. They could have gone really weird with it. But Armando manages to hot start a truck. They escape. Then they go to one of Mike's contacts, but turns out the contacts kind of fuck him over. Then, um, while this is going on, Rita, obviously, you get the scene where Mike calls Rita to tell her, like, just believe him about Captain Howard. And then, so they get captured by the contacts. The contact kind of fucks them over to get the bounty. And then they manage to escape. We get a big shootout. That's where they bring back if you remember DJ Khaled from the third one, they bring him back. He just gets ran the fuck over by Mike. Marcus just runs him the fuck over. It's like, he did not care. It's like, so they manage to escape. Then they go to Dom and Kelly, which we get a pretty funny scene with them. Kelly has to be calmed down because she was ready to shoot Armando, and then this is where they uncover the truth and realize, and because Armando names James McGrath because his picture comes up, so he's the one revealed to be behind everything. But while this is going on, this is the scene where he's calling Rita, and then this is when her boyfriend starts being sketched, which, to be honest, it was a little predictable that he was like, yeah, you could tell he's going to be in on it. It's just kind of... So this is when they start realizing that potentially their families are in danger. So Marcus and Mike try to get a hold of, their respective wives. Marcus manages to get a hold of his son Reggie, who's army trained. I think it's Marine trained, and he hides his mom and I think his wife or his grandma, one of the two. I'll just say he hides his family, and then that's when McGrath's men come in, and we get this awesome action scene where you got basically they're watching it on video, back at Dom's place. They're watching the video of everything because they have cameras on them, on each of the houses. So, and they're just watching fucking Reggie kick ass, and this was a great it was very John Wick, like it really was. Like I was not, and the camera work was incredible. Like I think some behind the scenes, not specifically of this scene, but of like another action scene, was shown on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, this movie, like they have really upped the action. If we're going just purely the best action of the franchise, it's probably this one. Because that, I was not just this scene, but even the scene with Armando defending himself in the prison, that choreography was pretty good. But like this scene was incredible, dude. And the way they were able to transition from, when they're actually back at the house where Reggie is, or when they're at Kelly's house watching the video, And you got like Marcus just being a fucking happy father. It's great. The commentary was great. And the way they just smoothly would transition back to being in the house, very done well. Like that whole sequence was awesome. I was not expecting that going into the film. So, but it turns out they managed to get to McGrath manages to get to Christine, who she manages when the phone's about to ring, she's about to get it, and that's when McGrath shows up, along with Judy's daughter, and they're captured. Um, and then this is where we get the reveal that Adam, Rita's boyfriend's in on it, because he's being weird, and they're going to the elevator because she's going to meet Mike, and he attacks her when she takes his phone away, and then that's when the team manages to get a hold of him. They kidnap him. They change the location of the meeting because he's posing on, because they have a technology where they can basically I guess AI can but in this world it's okay, it's believable to where AI is good enough where you can basically you can talk, but you can sound like somebody else. So they make it sound like it's Adam. So they make the meeting place to Cuba, and we basically get a big firefight pretty much, and then yeah, I fucking love this whole firefight. It was great. You got a scene of Armando kind of got a chance of getting he gets a chance at redemption, his character, even though his character starts out as a bad guy. He gets his redemption because he ends up saving Judy Lockwood's daughter. Not Lockwood. Judy Howard, not Lockwood. Lockwood's from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Sorry, I got my names mixed up. Judy Howard's daughter. You get a scene with an alligator. They end up killing Adam. Rita pushes him to the alligator pit because it's in Cuba, close to Florida. Marcus gets captured by McGrath, and then tries to force. That's where I thought this film was a little bit not lame, but McGrath just to me had no presence in the film as a villain. He was throughout, but he didn't feel like he had any presence. Even the villain in the third one had presence, which was even the first one and even the second one. I just felt like the villains up until this one, I think that's the only weak aspect of this film. His death's kind of anticlimactic too, because he shoots through Marcus, which they kind of already did that too in Bad Boys 1. Not 1, Bad Boys 2. And I was like, it was a little, I didn't need you to do that again. And also just the trade thing, oh, who are you going to take? You want me to kill? I've seen that done be better in other movies. I don't know. That's the only aspect I was on. But other than the villain, I really love this movie. The movie ends pretty much Armando. Judy manages to find Armando, and she and her daughter basically convinces her to put the gun down and say, hey, he saved me and all that. So she basically lets him go. Mike and Marcus are cleared of all wrongdoing, along with Captain Howard, and then Mike and Marcus are celebrating on the grill, and they got Reggie kind of scaring them into using the grill because they saw what he did. So you get a little funny gag there, and it just kind of ends. But I love this movie. I didn't, maybe not love, but I didn't think I'd like this as much as I did. Who knows? Maybe if I watch it again, I might love it. I really did not think I'd like it as much as I did, if I'm being honest. I didn't think I was going to hate it, but I thought it was going to be mediocre to bad. But the fact that it was as good as it was great. And the chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence is just still there, even after 29 years. And the chemistry is just there. They still are just managed to bounce off of each other. Even just in that first 5 minutes, when they're at the liquor store. They still got it. The banter, just the way they just bounce off of each other. And I like the new characters. And the fact that they paid homage to bringing back other characters like Fletcher. A lot of people might not remember him, but yeah, they're like, we'll bring Fletcher back. We'll call back to Bad Boys 2. We'll call back to Bad Boys 1. They make a reference to the Haitians. And, in the case in the second movie, the way it's done was just smooth. It wasn't just name drop to have a name drop. It was the fact that Bad Boys is a good comeback is crazy to me. Above, like, think about all these other franchises that were brought back, and continuations were all just done like shit. And the fact that Bad Boys is one of the better ones is crazy to me. And they did it twice. Because I like Bad Boys 3, and then they did it here. They're continuing. You compare this, I think this, I'm going to say it. I think Bad Boys Revival is better than the Ghostbusters one, because Afterlife was alright, but even then, I think that movie, there's aspects about it that don't really age well. And I'm sorry, Frozen Empire sucks. So, just, this did it. The first two Jurassics were good, but then they fucked it in the end. But I do think there's aspects of why I'm doing a rewrite. I think there's aspects that do need to be rewritten. So it just shows, like, Bad Boys, of all the franchises, man, Bad Boys being one of them that actually does the most, has basically the most respect for its IP is crazy to me. Whatever I think of Will Smith as a person, he's a fucking cuck. But he still got it. He still has that charm in this. He felt like old school Will Smith. And honestly, I recommend this movie to people. Especially if, a lot of us have been just going on about how Hollywood doesn't respect its franchises and doesn't respect its fandom and all this. Bad Boys did. They brought it back twice and shown you can still have a good continuation. It's still funny. They didn't PC any of the jokes. They had no problem going in on anything. Decent story. Obviously, there's aspects of the story I don't love, but I still think it's really good. And I actually really want to see it again, man. And the biggest thing is and that's what really that's the thing that's going to make or break, really, break a Bad Boys movie. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith still had that chemistry. Like, it was like they still have that chemistry like it was 1995 still. And I love the character change with Martin Lawrence, and it's a character change that is actually adding to the character. It's not a character change that's just done to destroy, like, to ruin a character. Like, it actually makes sense. He nearly died, so he's like, you know what? I nearly died, so I'm gonna make more out of life and not be as scared. There you go. That's character development. And like I said, you bring in new characters that we like, but you don't have them constantly belittle the new one, the originals, and you don't bring down the originals. So we end up liking these new characters. Dom and Kelly are great. I liked them in the last one. So it was cool that they brought them back in this one. Same with Rita. I thought it was cool. Obviously, like I said, there's little decisions. I don't know why they broke up Rita and Mike. I think I would have just had them together. I think kind of would make the story stronger, because now she would have, she's the captain, but she has to try to hump down her boyfriend. There was no need for Adam's character. I know that actor. That's the dude who plays Mr. Fantastic in those Fox Fantastic Four movies back in the day. But he wasn't needed in this movie. You could have did this movie without him. Same with Christine. She was almost there just to get kidnapped, but I almost felt like I don't know if they didn't want to show Rita getting kidnapped, but it would have made more sense. You could have Rita just get kidnapped. I think it would have worked better. There was no need to break them up. It was so... even the way they set it up in the end of the third one, it just for them to go to this and he's marrying this chick. What? I was okay with Teresa being recast. It's not like she's in a lot of the movie anyway, so it's fine. Because most of the movie, Marcus and Mike are on the run, so they're not gonna be with their family much. So there's scenes obviously like when they're on the run, where the police are at the Barnett residence, but besides that, yeah, she's not really gonna be like integral to the plot. She never really was. More in the first one, maybe, but definitely like 2 and 3, not really. So it's all right. But yeah, Bad Boys, Ride or Die was good. Was not ready for it to be good, but you know what? It was. So I'm gonna watch it again, hopefully soon. Yeah. Other than that, tomorrow we'll be reviewing Bad Boys 2, which I cannot wait for. Bad Boys 2 is great. Oh, like Bad Boys 3, you get a quick um, Michael Bay cameo. There's a scene where it's the scene where Marcus is kind of walking in the street, and Martin and Mike kind of get stopped by a car, and then the car that's Michael Bay. So I love his little cameos. He makes a cameo in the third one too. So it was nice seeing him in this one. So, but yeah, and like the callbacks to like those the first three films, like they tie pretty much all of them together. So humble opinion, I think this should be the last one. But this one is doing well, and it's pretty much carrying the summer box office. Because the only thing within, I think Planet of the Apes did all right, but besides that, there's been a lot of flop. This start of the summer season's been pretty financially anyway, not great. A movie I like, Fall Guy, didn't do well. Furiosa is not doing well, and now it's out of theaters. Um, and you know, I think Garfield's doing okay, but yeah, it's been so it's um Bad Boys doing well, which I'm happy for. But the only thing now I'm like worried is are they going to try to do another one? And I just don't. I don't think you need to. I think I'm okay. I mean, unless they want to do like okay, another trilogy, like you had the first three and then you have these three. I would be okay with that maybe, but this would have to be it though. I'm open to another one if it's the last one. If this is the last Bad Boys movie, but maybe like you don't rush. The thing is, they don't rush them out. I think that's what also helps. They don't rush these movies out. They release every couple years. So anyway, overall, I really like this movie. So gotta hope it almost gives me a little bit of hope for Beverly Hills Cop 4 because if Bad Boys 4 could be good, and I didn't think that would be good at all, maybe there's a chance for Beverly Hills Cop. Really quick before I end the video, I I didn't necessarily. I just never really thought Beverly Hills Cop should have got past the '80s. I think it's one of ththose franchises. It's more '80s to me, and I just think the '80s aesthetic is what makes it. And setting it modern time, I just don't know if it'll work. But I get it. Maybe they want to make up for Bad Boys 3, or not Bad Boys, Beverly Hills Cop 3, which wasn't great. So we'll see. But seeing that Bad Boys 4 could be good, and it still has the dynamic. But I obviously Beverly Hills Cop's not fully a buddy cop movie. It's more about one guy. It gives me a little bit of hope that maybe Eddie Murphy will try to make it good, but I don't know. It'll be on Netflix, and unfortunately, sorry, real quick. Unfortunately, Eddie has Coming to America 2 against him, and that to me is the only thing that's given me a little bit of pause. Is like he did that, but this one, which I'll be honest, like I said, I didn't really like the trailers for Bad Boys 4. The trailers I saw, and even the way they kind of showed they were doing this Howard, so I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna get away with this, but they managed to. So I'm kind of hoping Beverly Hills Cop 4 does that. I will be reviewing that one, by the way. It's coming out July 3rd, so I'll be reviewing it. So, anyways, gonna end it here. Tomorrow I'll be doing Bad Boys 2. Pretty much said what I'm gonna be doing this week, and I'm gonna try to stick to the schedule this week. I know I've been saying I'm gonna do this and then schedule. It's just crazy few days, but I'm gonna really want to try to stick to this one, especially Tuesday. I want to do that video. So. Thanks for the sub. Thanks for the subs, y'all. Love y'all. Talk to y'all later.